It's Too Many Men on the Mic, presented by Netfront LLC. Now here's Coach Drew and Coach Jared.
I love this episode. We get to talk to an audience that in our hockey community, we have so many diverse audiences, but this one is built for goalies. And I can't wait to hear what our goalie panel has to say tonight, because really the topic is about save percentages for goalies being down for the last 6 to 7 years.
Sure, they're going to love this.
And so is hockey getting too hard for these goalies? I can't wait to hear their response to that.
I mean,
or are players getting bigger, faster, stronger? You got a thought. I want to hear it.
The pads just keep getting bigger.
They just keep getting
bigger. Pads just keep getting bigger.
What I love about this is that I'm a defenseman, you're a forward, and we have no skin in this game. So we're just like...
Well, you get blamed for everything. You see, everything works from just like in practice in a game, everything works from the goal line out, right? The goalie blames the defenseman.
Yeah,
the defenseman complain about the forwards, and then the forwards just say, hey, you know what? It's a six-man game.
I kind of feel like our role in this week's show, though, is just to throw like charcoal on the fire and just, I
want to throw gasoline on it.
And see where this journey takes us. I can't wait.
Well, we've got a great panel of I would say an eclectic panel, but goaltenders are eclectic by nature. So,
exactly.
Anybody that signs up to say, hey, let's get vulcanized rubber pucks shot at me as fast as they can, and I'll try to defend a 24 square foot gaping hole, has got something, there's something going on there. But thank God for goaltenders. We couldn't win without them.
They're like referees. We couldn't play the game without them.
Well, you can. All right, hey Grant. Before we get started, where are you, Grant?
Where's Grant? How does he feel about the? So Grant, I'm just curious. As a sports fan enthusiast, what are your thoughts on this? Goalie save percentage has been declining the last 6 to 7 years. Do you think the game's getting too hard for these goalies, or do you just think the players are getting bigger and stronger? What's your take?
Players are too good. I think it's just like why ERA is going down and average is going down in the MLB.
I knew you were going to throw a baseball reference in here.
It's all about equipment.
Yeah.
It's all about equipment.
The skaters are too good. They're
RVH, right? RVH. That's going to be a taboo discussion tonight. RVH.
They can put the puck on it. I think that's the big thing is they're too skilled now.
Well, I beg to differ. I'm not too skilled, and I still can't score. So, all right. Well, Grant, I think it's about time we brought in our panel of experts, goaltending experts.
Let's go. I want to hear it.
And so here we are. Look at this group. We've got I Am Disgruntled, a.k.a. Simon Lukey, who's a goalie father, which you figure if a guy grew up being a goalie, he would try to steer his kids away from that role.
Right. Don't do it.
We got Lexi Levy, who is a recently graduated goaltender, probably more talent than all of us around this table and around this combined. And then Tim Balis, former goaltender and coach for the better part of a decade, more than that, but is coaching locally here at the St. Louis Eagles. Has coached at junior levels, has coached across the country. Rumor has it he worked for Pure Hockey back when it was still Pure Hockey. So, folks, welcome, man. Appreciate you joining the show tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to dig into this because as we talked about in the intro, I'm a defenseman. I don't have any skin in this game. Actually, I'm the goalie's friend. I'm trying to stop the shots from getting to you. But I'm curious, in this declining save percentage era that the stats tell us here these last 6 to 7 years, which is goalies' save averages are going down. Is the game getting too hard for goalies? Don't shoot me. Or are these players just getting bigger and stronger? What's the take? Somebody start us off.
I think our most recent, highest level person, Lexi, should go with that one, right?
Oh, Lexi starts. Let's go, Lexi.
I don't think you want me to start because I'm going to say I didn't even know that was a thing.
From Oswego University out of upstate New York, Lexi Levy.
I love it. We're laying knowledge on you, Lexi. Can you believe it?
I didn't know it was a thing that save percentages were going down, truthfully.
So you're in the camp of, statistics never lie and only liars use statistics.
Exactly. I just go off my own statistics and they don't fit in that bucket. So
Oh, that's a strong statement right there. I like it.
Simon, what do you think, man? You were ready to jump right in.
Oh, this generation's too soft, Like our old generation, we just figured it out. If it's down, we're going to get it up. No, I'm just kidding. I think exactly what you guys said. I mean, my kid's playing first year of Pee Wee starting off here, and they've been so good. I'm like, watching these kids the past couple of years at 6, 7 years old doing Michigans and going bar down from outside the hash marks, like at that young of age is unbeneath seen to anyone before. So they're good, not just at the high level, at the when they're young and little. So it's only going to get harder.
Well, Tim and I just got off the ice. Full transparency, we're coaching together right now with some spring kids. Tim, what are we seeing? What are you seeing with goaltending in general? Is it keeping up with the technology and the focus on technique that skaters get, or is it just kind of depending on where you are? I mean, talk a little bit about how you're seeing that.
Well, so back when I was playing, it was Brodeur, it was Joseph, where goaltending was an art, and I think now it's become more robotic, and the players are figuring that out. Like, oh, he's going to come across, he's going to RVH or whatever the new moves are, and players are figuring that out. And so I'm starting to see a shift where goalies are starting to go back into goaltending as an art form, and I think you're going to see those save percentages come back up.
Goaltending as an art form.
Goaltending is an art. That's a great ism right there.
That is one. You might want to turn that volume up just a little bit for us, Tim, if you can on your phone. There you go.
But I like what Tim just said. So players are becoming robotic, and so then goaltending is becoming standardized. Would you say then it's becoming cookie cutter? Is that too strong to say?
No, I would say that's what it's become. Like, it's just robotic. It's go post to post, and I need to be RVH here. Where now players are like, oh, hey, we can bank it off the head and in. We're going to go that way. And
yeah.
So now they've got to be able to be up more, and so I think it's starting to be figured out.
I can just feel Lexi's blood pressure going up right now.
Vasilevsky.
And I feel like she's got a lot of things to say right now. Lexi, you add on to this. What do you think about that?
I do think that players, it's starting to trickle down from the NHL, right? They're getting a lot more creative, kind of what Tim said on banking it off the head. That didn't really used to be a thing. Forwards would get the puck and just kind of rip it and hope and pray that it would go in. But now so many kids are watching and practicing all these crazy moves that we haven't really seen before until the last couple of years. I do also think that their gear, the sticks, are just unbelievable.
Well, when your pads take up half the net, you've got to have some whip in the stick. I mean, let's be honest here. We just figured it out.
We just figured it out, right?
True.
I feel like you just touched on something really cool, though, Lexi, because I just had a conversation with a player about this, and they were saying the technology is so good now that you really don't need to take a slap shot anymore.
That's right.
You can have a snapshot, maybe even a wrister, a wicked wrister, and get the same kind of impact. So are you seeing that? Less winding up, less choppers from the blue lines and more sneaky kind of shots? Yeah,
for sure. And even on the girls' side of it, right, we don't have the release that guys do. But with the new technology, it's starting to get better. Yeah. They don't take near as much time as they used to release the puck.
Well, Drew wanted to go right for the jugular with the statistics and get under all the goaltender skin here, which is a great technique if you wanna try and get a goalie off his or her game. But let's go back to the beginning here. I mean, we've got 3 folks here who at some point in their lives decided they wanted to play goaltender, and I want to really hear from Simon as a goalie dad. You must have loved it, and you must have. I would say you survived it. Tell us a little bit about your story, and when you decided to put the pillows on, man. Talk about that and why.
I grew up in Pittsburgh, and we were too poor to play ice hockey, so I played ball hockey at the YMCA. It was where I first started, and I think I remember, like, I don't come from a hockey family at all, and the first game I ever played forward, I had to buy a helmet for me. And they bought me a goalie helmet. So I was running around out there with I remember an all blue helmet and playing forward with a goalie helmet. And then so like the next game, they're like, hey, like you should just play goalie. And I put on, I don't know if anyone remembers those Milek pads with the plastic and the plastic straps and the foam. And I put those on and a baseball chest protector and pretty much like a baseball mitt. And I remember I played goalie and I never looked back. And I never started ice hockey till I was 13. I never ice skated till I was 12. I just played ball hockey. And actually, like in Pittsburgh, it's like very competitive. They call it deck hockey.
Yeah.
Got to play in Canada and Florida, everywhere for it. But then, wanted to go to the next level and tried out my 7th grade year for the freshman team. And they're like, yeah, you can't skate. They're like, you know how to play goalie, but you can't skate. So come back next year and learn how to skate. So it took a whole year to learn how to skate. And then came back the next year and then pretty much rode the pine all through high school. It was a good experience. I was never a starter. Just good way to kind of, get into it late. Because, I see it now. It's like if you don't get into hockey by like age 10, it's almost impossible to catch up, and there's very few skills. I'm not saying it's impossible. Like there's definitely, the 1%ers out there, but like if you don't have that base at an early age, like you can't jump in no matter how athletic you are and, just hang with the boys, right? Like you can do that in football, you can do that in basketball. The curve is just so big. But yeah, that was my story. Ball hockey to riding the pine all through high school.
I love it. I love ball hockey. I mean,
the Milek. Tell me you didn't have one of those white plastic Milek blades that got worn down to a jagged point that you could it was like a lethal weapon.
Yeah, and then like every Coho and Sherwood and all of these, old wood sticks that had cracks in them. Yep. And did they have enough cracks that you could still play with them or not?
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is I love how you just he's got the helmet. He must be a goalie. He just doesn't know it yet. Well, thank you, Mom and Dad, for that. Tim, I don't know why I haven't asked you this yet, but tell me, what was the story on you becoming a goaltender?
It was just one day in practice. They're like, hey, we don't have a goalie. Do you want to give it a try? And I said, sure. Upset my poor mom into a tizzy who'd go through a bag of licorice a game. Started off like that. It was pretty bad. My one buddy's dad, who was bald, he's like, if I wasn't bald, I'd be bald because of the way you play. And, just kept going and stuck with it and, played. And, especially with the way they do hockey today, I think I wouldn't have made it to where I did because I kept moving up. So I played back when they had mites, I played Mite House and then Squirt B and then Pee Wee A and then Bantam Double A and each of those jumps and ended up playing a year up at St. Mary's in Minnesota where 4th, 5th goalie, so didn't see much time, played most of my games with the JV and then I always joke I went to college to get smart and stop having people shoot pucks at me. And then Lexi, I know your brother and your dad. Actually, we know your brother and your dad. But we've never really, aside from seeing your brother wear your pads in one of our practices.
Yeah.
Which again
is a great sight.
Which was awesome. Tell us a little bit about how you got into being a goaltender.
It's not really a great story. I just wanted a cool helmet. And that was that.
Oh, I love
Just wanted a cool helmet.
Just wanted a cool helmet.
What was the cool? Did you have a design on your helmet to start off with, or was it just a different color, or did you like the mask?
I had the snake one.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You have it there at your parents' house?
Yeah.
You're gonna, when we take a break, I want to see that helmet. We got to see that helmet.
All right. I'll try my best to go find it, but I have all my helmets here. After that one, it was painted from there on out.
That's awesome. How did you end up at Oswego? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sorry?
How did you end up at Oswego? You just graduated from Oswego up there in New York, so talk about that.
I did. It's a funny story, actually. So he reached out when I was being recruited before I, got an offer or anything like that, still in high school. And truthfully, I don't even remember talking to him. And I told this straight up to his face. Like, I do not remember talking to my coach. I ended up committing somewhere else, wasn't given what I was promised. So I hit the portal. He reached back out and he was like, hey, remember when we were talking before you committed? And I said, yeah, I definitely remember that. I look at my dad. I go,
no.
What the hell is Oswego? What is Oswego? And he goes, I don't know. Google it. So we Googled it, and come winter break, we end up taking a trip to all those schools that ended up reaching out to me when I went into the portal at Christmas break. Got on campus, and I was like, yeah, this is the place. This is where I'm coming next year.
Very cool.
Without, anything crazy else involved, I was just, I was like, yeah, this is it.
Did any of you guys ever have a moment where you're like, it would be so much easier to be a defenseman?
I think it's the hardest position.
Oh, 100%. 100%. As a coach, I agree with you 100%. As a player, I roll my eyes.
Yeah, you're one of one, or you're one of two. Maybe you're one of three, and that's even less.
Yeah,
I feel like you guys, defensemen, just have a bigger net to watch. You have pretty much from the blue line back.
He doesn't need any more reason to puff his chest out being a defenseman.
It's a tough gig. That's how I get all defensemen to like me, take pucks from me. I just tell them it's the hardest job in the world.
Oh, I love it. He's building. He's selling them on the front end.
It's like a quarterback with his linemen.
Yeah,
that's what it's like. Exactly quarterback right. With his linemen.
So let's get back to his stat real quick. I read this earlier in the week. League-wide shooting percentage hovers around 10 to 11%, meaning goalies stop 90% of the shots. But with high shot volume, even a modest bump in quality, scoring chances pay off. Would you agree with that? I mean, what do you think? League-wide shooting percentage is around 10 to 11%. So what that makes me think is that the goalies are just phenomenal. But if goalie save percentage is going down, what's the disconnect there? What do you think? Tim, throw it out there. Give us a start. What do you think?
I think it's the high danger areas and the soft areas and the high danger where players are sneaking in and trying, as a goalie, trying to react to a shot in that area. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, you just kind of hope and pray.
So are you getting up and going and chastising the defenseman then? Because those high danger areas, right? That should really be where the D is. Is the D just not showing up? Is that what's happening there in those high danger areas, or what should they be doing?
Well, I'd like to say forwards are getting smart, but that's not the case. I
love it.
I think a lot of it is just players are getting faster to where your first center back is not being able to get down there and help. Your D can't slide over fast enough because they're getting to where they need to be faster, and teams are moving the puck more.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's like defense are getting worse or goalies getting worse. Everyone's getting faster and they're moving the puck more.
Lexi, is it just the defenseman had too big of a sandwich at lunch What is it? Should they be moving quicker in front of the net? Should we be going? Come on, D.
Yes and no. I think a lot of times the defensemen are starting to get more puck focused, and the forwards are recognizing and can find empty space.
Right.
Coach, I feel like Jared's got something to say about that.
I mean, watching a puck, it's like watching the game. Should be checking your shoulders. Should be moving to where you think the puck's going to be next.
Puck watching.
Especially, and I also think beyond just the opposing forwards, the opposing defense are now joining the rush. You're seeing, slash plays down the middle. You're seeing scissor plays across along the boards. You're seeing, this concept of surfing, which is not hanging 10. It's where that weak side defenseman surfs across because the strong side defenseman's coming down. All this technical stuff that's probably going to make everybody's head who doesn't know kind of spin. But it's really become a 5-man offensive set or 5-woman offensive set. And that's to Tim's point where you got that soft area and back door. And if you've got puck watching defensemen instead of puck hawking defensemen, then you're gonna see a lot more opportunities there.
Simon, what do you think? Help us out here. Give us some perspective.
I mean, when you brought that up, I don't know if you guys, if you watched the Sabres Canadians game last night.
Oh yes.
The last 2-3 minutes of the Sabres defense, I think they made 20 saves. It was they were down a man. The goalie was pulled and they were smothering the Canadians. It was they couldn't get a shot on the goalie if they tried. And I was like, wow. I was like, what? Just it was the buy-in to every single way. Not just the D-men, the offensemen. Everyone was just we're not letting a shot getting through.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Logan Stanley and Luke Shen were great ads on that Buffalo D line. 2 big bodies, lots of block shots last night. Great point.
We got to take a quick break to pay a few bills. So we're gonna, if you guys are all good, we'll take about a 2-minute break here. Have a quick live ad read. We'll come back and talk a little bit more about the mental side of goaltending and again, what drives success. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Well, that segment of Too Many Men on the Mic was brought to you by 5B Designs. St. Louis hockey families and business leaders, if you need custom gear that stands out and stands for something, it's time to meet 5B Designs. Founded by Shannon Brahini, a proud St. Louis mom and entrepreneur, 5B Designs is a woman-owned small business that brings purpose to custom apparel. Whether you're suiting up your youth or high school hockey team or leveling up your company's branded swag, 5B delivers top-notch quality with a personal touch. You need a team store? No problem. Corporate polos or event giveaways, they've got you covered. 5B makes it easy with fast turnaround, flexible service, and designs your players or employees will love to wear. Check them out at stores.inksoft.com/5B Designs. That's the word 5. And if you're watching on our YouTube feed, go ahead and scan the QR code in the top right corner of your screen and see what great gear and great service looks like. Real quick, folks, before we jump back in, if you're enjoying Too Many Men on the Mic, hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. It's a quick click for you, but it helps us grow the show and keep bringing you great hockey conversations. You can also follow us on Instagram by scanning the QR code at the top right hand of our screen. And be sure to download, follow, and rate the podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And coaches and parents out there, for exclusive content, you can also go directly to our website, tooManyMenOnTheMic.com. That's the number 2. For gear, downloadable coaching practice plans, and all other types of content that we provide. Again, these are small things from you that help us keep delivering new guests, downloadable coaching content, and more from the rink. All right, back to the show. All right, and we're back with Too Many Men on the Mic, goalie edition. And we've got Simon Lukey, Tim Balis, and Lexi Levy joining us here. My partner here just busted out some knowledge and statistics. I think it was some soft jabs to the solar plexus for goaltenders. But we want to dive into kind of the softer side, the emotional side of goaltending.
I love that Simon, in the first segment, gave the defenseman praise. and then even added to it by talking about all the blocked shots last night in the 2 playoff games. He's a defensive. You can tell he gels with his defenseman. This is working for me, man.
Well, I mean, you have to have a good defense in front of you. I was talking, so I've got a guy I work with who's also a former goalie. I don't know how that happened.
You attract them.
Don't know how that happened. And we were talking about how you can win a playoff series. And I'm like, oh, well, you got to be strong down the middle with centers, working hard down low in the offensive zone. He goes, well, a goaltender can steal a series. And I immediately, Mike, I take over. And I'm like, well, I don't know. All the best goalies have the best teams in front of them. But let's go back to a little bit of that, that conversation of becoming a goaltender. And each of you, as you progressed, you got more challenge. The challenge and the competition became better. How do you get into that mindset? I mean, being able to sit between in front of a 4x6 gaping hole and take those pucks. Like, how do you get yourself into that mindset, at the start of a game? And, goals are going to happen. You can't have a shutout every game. So how do you bounce back from goals? I would personally like one goal and I'd be like done, because I'd just be like, I'm terrible. I'm never doing this again. So Lexi, tell us a little bit about like how that mindset and what are some of the things that you taught yourself to be an outstanding goaltender?
Truthfully, I try not to think about it. I just go into the game as relaxed, as calm as I can. With that being said, I did a lot of meditating this last year that I played, and I noticed big difference in my stats, my calmness, my energy, my ability to control my mind. And I just kind of went out there and played and let my ability take control. And if something were to happen, I would just remind myself, hey, you've been a goalie for 12 years. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Like if you didn't have the talent, if you didn't have the skills, you wouldn't be in net right now. So falling back on what I knew was important to me.
I love it. I love The Presence. It's also a great album by Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
But the presence of, do you have a mantra in your meditation? Do you have a over and over again, something that you say in your head, something that really dials you in? What is it during the meditative state that gets you there?
I think having my brain be empty is just the best part of it. We have no problem with that. A lot of people cannot shut their brain off. Like, genuinely, there's always a thought, there's always something running in their mind. For me, I can sit in silence without a thought in my mind. And that's kind of translated, honestly, onto the ice. And, when the puck was in the other zone, which never happened, unfortunately. But if it did happen, my mind was clear and it was just focused on the game. I never wandered in any thought or anything like that.
Tim, what about you? I mean, I think we came up in this age of goaltenders like Ed Belfour and before that, Billy Smith, where they're a little bit salty. And what was your secret to success in getting yourself prepared for a hockey game? And after that first game you ever played goaltender, what made you come back?
After the first game, my mom, I didn't do well. My mom's like, let's go get donuts. And so that's how she got me back in the net. But getting older, it was just coming up with a routine to reset after it. After a goal, after games, then you have to have a short memory.
Simon, what about you? Do you have a mantra? Do you have a routine? Is there something that brings you calmness when you're getting ready to lace up for a game?
I would say I'm just, I'm a restaurant owner, and I think something that I've always taken pride in is just anything that I do, right? So whether it's, like you're mopping the floors or you're plating a dish or whatever, right? Like, it doesn't matter what the task is, you should do it to your absolute best ability. And so like I always remember that. I'm like, it doesn't matter if we're winning 10-0 or we're losing 10-0. Like I'm taking every play, every next shot the best I can, right? Like it doesn't matter how tired I am, like for whatever, right? Like whatever the situation is, I'm doing everything the best I can. It doesn't matter what happened before. It's just one thing at a time, the best I can. And I think that's always just been my mantra, and it keeps it loose.
I mean, I'm giving you a soft clap right here. Oh, there it is. Yes. Let's deliver it.
Taking that into account, I think that's 3 very balanced.
I know.
Very
I love how
balanced.
they're all different. That's fantastic.
Very balanced approaches to being successful. Putting yourself in the parent, and obviously Simon, you are a current parent of a goalie, but how do you communicate with goalie parents on how to, one, bring their anxiety level down and be a little bit more, I guess calm, maybe the best way to say it, or like, how would you talk to parents who their kid comes to them and says, hey, I want to try goalie? Like, what are some things that, knowing what you all know as playing that position and coaching and having relationships with your own parents, what would be some things that you would, counsel those parents on and talk to them about? Jump in. Go ahead, Simon. Let's just run it back let's just throw it back around the boards the opposite way. So
I feel like I have a lot to say about it. Like for starters, like I can't sit next to my wife at games because she's like the meme. She's like, the children, like, she's just screaming erratically, right? And so like I just like to watch the game. And so I like to say it just depends on your personality, right? Like if you are like my wife and you are stressful, probably not the best position for your kid, right? Because it's a lot of stress. But it's also it comes with its rewards too, right? Like because when it happens, it's a beautiful thing to watch, and you're just it's amazing, right? But I think it like being a goalie, you have to be like a goalie parent. You can never get too high, you can never get too low. As much as it's your kid, when it's their worst game, like you can't get too low, and when it's their best game, you can't get too high. It's after every game, the only thing we ever talk about, we're like, hey, like how reaction, right? How was your reaction? That's what we focus on so much. Like, how was your reaction? How was your effort? Those are the only 2 things you can control, right? Like, other than that, like, there's so many things that we can only control those things in the game. And that's like really has been like our focus the past couple of years is, we've been going through the motions of, just like, 10-year-old kids. So it's, it's tough.
So Lexi, I'm curious as a goalie and your brother playing and your mom and your dad, and you're talking to them, if you could go back to the beginning, and I bet you had conversations in the car, either on the way to the rink or on the way back, and maybe they had expectations about the goalie position, and you were getting them to understand what that meant. If you could go back now and talk to your parents and maybe a parent of a current youth hockey goalie, just at the beginning of that journey, what would you say? Any good knowledge to share?
I think it's a tough question because sitting here, I've kind of been pondering what in the future, if my kid ever says I want to play goalie, if I say yes or no. My parents told me back in the day, absolutely not. No. Like they were stubborn for 2 years. No.
And your dad's a coach.
Yeah, he is. And then a spring season came along, and they're like, "All right, whatever, try it." Well, no going back now. Yes, I love it. My mom did not watch me play any AAA games, any college games. She only came to my high school games, so she was a fan from the couch. She, didn't keep up. She expected a call after the game. My dad was at every single game. Mm-hmm. He liked it, but he said it was stressful. But going back to your question, it's hard because I think I'd like for my kid to try it. But at the same time, if he or she were to walk away, I'd be like, oh, you're not mentally tough. Like, get outside, get in the mud, do push-ups. So I don't know as a parent if I could handle them walking away from.
She's already capping on her non-existent child.
I love it. I love
So
it. That's
either
the
you're going to
greatest.
try it and you're going to stick with it because you're going to be mentally tough and that's what you do, or you're just not going to try it at all.
Well, I love that, but I also love what Tim said earlier about his mom giving him donuts to stay at it. So I got to hear some stories about, and Tim has had plenty of parents that have, I guess, been under his wing as he's coached their children. And obviously he's coached at least 2 goalies every year, sometimes more. Talk a little bit about those type of conversations that you've had. We can, the names can change to protect the innocent, but talk about some of those goalie parent counseling sessions that you've probably had over the years.
Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah.
You're on mute, Tim. There you go.
It goes from, hey, look, it's a team game. Goalie is the toughest position. It's the only position where if you screw up, a red light goes on. The forward can miss, the D can miss, but if you miss, the red light goes on. So it's got to get through everyone to get to you. And so, those games where everyone doesn't have it, it happens, and it can be bad. But the games when everyone has it, that's a lot of times they're like, oh, the goalie played great. And it's like, well, everyone played great. It's a team game. And so I think too many people look at it as like it is a lonely position, but it's still a team sport.
It's a great way to put it.
Well said. And I like that, isn't it? It's the only
you mess up, the red light goes on, kid.
You messed up, the red light goes off. Yeah.
Well, it is funny because we were doing a drill today. I'll let people behind the scenes. And I just kept telling them, I was getting on the forwards. If I didn't like what I'd see, I'd just blow it dead and have the next group go. So they're getting all mad. But, could you imagine, you don't like what I see, there's no other goalie to put in there.
That's right.
So you got to pump those folks up. And really, I think it's the parents after the game. Those car ride homes, I think you want to make sure that those are as positive as possible.
Well, but I like where you're going there, Tim, because you're talking about being a team, but also it's mentally challenging, right? You're the only position where the light goes off. So right back at you. Do you think our game of hockey has become more mentally difficult for goalies than physically difficult? What would you say there?
Yeah, I definitely say it's more mentally difficult to play. And, as science gets better and, goalies are able to describe what their flow state is. And if they can get into a flow state in the game, that's going to help them out. But trying to be able to get there consistently when, as they're going up the ranks, you introduce slap shots, and then there's checking. So there's all sorts of distractions. Then you introduce crowds in high school and college, and, they get louder and they get bigger and there's more distractions. So to get in that flow state and to be mentally tough is especially difficult now.
Simon, what do you think?
As I get older, physically is definitely harder. That's for sure. The hips, the knees just aren't the same. But I think it's true. It's I think as an older goaltender, you learn how to get in your flow and your routines and the things you need to do, and physically it gets harder. And I see, I was never able to do the splits as a kid, and my kid's splitting all over the place, but for him, I think, the mental side is harder, and just learning how to get to that flow and, learning, how to have the right reactions and, those things. And, so I think that just comes with time. And so I think, hopefully everyone has that point in their career or their life where it's just you're at your peak flow, you're at your peak physical, and that's, when it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Lexi, you talked about your meditation. What do you think? Is it mental? Is it physical?
Kind of like what Simon said. I think it depends on where you're at, the stage, you're competing on. Beer league, definitely more physical. As a kid, definitely more physical until you start to get to, like Tim mentioned, high school and the eliter levels. I think it becomes more physical because that's kind of when you're starting to peak. You starting to play it a little bit more. Your physical game is kind of where it needs to be. So I think it's a little bit of both. College, your physical is there. So I think it's definitely mental.
All right. So I love it. I love all the banter around both of those. Who do you think is the advantage today, though? If you could put it, is it the goalie? Is it the shooter? In today's game of hockey, who do you think has the advantage today? Is the goalie in a better spot, or is the shooter in a better spot? And Simon, I know you're going to say as long as the defense is there helping out, right?
It depends on the D in front.
Well, I think the numbers on like penalty shots and even breakaways are favoring the goalies, but it's a relative. I think, again, their pads are so good.
Oh, what do you think about that, Lexi? Are the pads
I'd say
getting bigger?
shooters have the advantage.
Oh, come on. Just because we have curved sticks, right?
That's a compliment that you guys have the advantage. Come on. I'm basically saying you guys are better than us if you have the advantage.
Or you're saying that we need the advantage because we're not.
Yeah, more so
It's
that
like
one.
reverse See, you're a mentalist. You're already messing with our heads.
Yeah,
Tim, what do
I'd
you
say
think?
Minute of play in this period.
Breakaways and penalty shots, and shooters have it in normal gameplay.
Yeah. Because most defensemen are lazy, right, Simon?
Stop.
Hardest workers on the team, baby.
Love it, Simon. We're going to be friends.
We're going to take another quick break here. If everybody can still stick around, we'll come back and finish this up. We've got some fun questions. We've got some deep topics. And then we may drop a few goalie-centric drills and games for coaches out there to take. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Too Many Men on the Mic Goalie Edition.
Summer is right around the corner, but Big Bear Tournaments is already thinking about the next hockey season. Registration is now open on their website for the 2026-2027 seasons, and spots are filling fast. Join them in new locations such as Savannah, Georgia, Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Holland, Michigan. Looking to save on your entry fees? Take advantage of their multi-team, multi-club, and club-level discounts that guarantee savings across the board for every team in your organization. Head over to bigbeartournaments.com today to claim your spots and be ready to hit the ice after the summer. If you're watching online, go ahead and click that QR code up in the top right-hand corner to find out more about the great things that bigbeartournaments.com has to offer. We're back with Too Many Men on the Mic Goalie Edition, and Simon's becoming the defenseman's best friend. And he and I are going to share notes after the meeting. We might even be on the ice together at a men's game in the future. But we're here talking for a few more minutes about shooter advantage, goalie advantage, today's game, our thoughts on that. But, Coach, I think you wanted to dig a little bit into when should kids consider becoming full-time goalies and make it a full-time job? So we're no longer passing the bag. We're no longer 6U, 8U, where we're, moving it on to the next person in line. As a coach, I would always tell my kids, guess what? If there's not a volunteer, who's going to be the goalie? It's going to be you. You're going to be the goalie.
Well, I think the question, two parts. When should kids start to specialize? Obviously, goalie is the most specializations. And then how do, we as a local organization, as a regional, as a country, how do we deal with what has been really kind of a goalie shortage, issue? I know that USA Hockey had an emphasis recently on trying to build reffing up. And I know there are some things that they're doing to try and get kids to play more goalie. They've changed some of their guidelines. But I'm interested to hear from the three of you when you think kids should start specializing in goalie. And Tim, you're probably the foremost expert on this, or have probably the most informed opinion. What do you think? When should they start, focusing? And then how does that help us, get more kids to play goalie? Tim, you hear us? You with us?
Yeah,
Here?
can you hear us?
Tim, can you hear us?
I can't hear it.
Gonna have to edit this out.
Yeah.
Lexi, why don't you jump in on that as we figure this out?
Yeah, so I think not too early, not too late. Maybe around, let's say, 9 to 11-ish. I think the kids should develop as an athlete, whether it's soccer, forward, defenseman, skating, anything, any sport, whatever it is. Become an athlete, I think, is the number one priority. And then if they have the abilities to be a goalie, then go on to be a goalie, because you don't want them to burn out too early. Like we've talked about all night long. It's mental. It's a lot. It's a struggle at times. And if you're starting too young and you don't have the right coaches, sometimes coaches just fire them past you or whatever it is. You're like, this is stupid. I don't want to play this sport. You're giving it up. And I think you can't start too young, because that's what's going to happen.
Tim, what do you think? Should kids be specializing earlier? Lexi's got a great, comment I thought about getting more athleticism and becoming a better athlete first. What are your thoughts, and how does that translate into helping to solve a goalie
I
shortage?
can't hear anything. I can't hear the host.
All right. Well,
All right, Simon, what are you thinking there?
I don't know if we have enough time for me to say everything here.
we can make
but
time.
have a
We can
lot
make
of
time.
for you.
Yeah, of having recently gone through this. So I think the landscape has changed a lot. And I think they're trying to force specializing early. And I think that's a terrible idea. Kids should learn how to skate. And at a young age, the only way you're going to learn how to skate is without goalie equipment that's too big for you and being out on the ice, not in a crease. But at the same time, it's getting competitive so early. And I think like the route that we did is that we had, when my son decided he wanted to play goalie, that we only did RGA. Like we took him to the goalie trainings, like that's all we did. We didn't do the Rockets practices, the mite practices as a goalie. That's never do a mite practice as a goalie. Like that's just, I think, a terrible idea. Let the tires do that heavy lifting. And we did the trainings off to the side. And I said, hey, if you want to play goalie, you got to learn how to skate first, and you can learn the basics over there. So I think people try to just throw the kids in the net and let them have live fire at this young age. I don't think that's right. I think they need to be structured early, technique first. We're really lucky to have RGA for that. But then we kind of hit this like peak of like, okay, he wants to play. I don't think there's enough quality practice and shots at that level. And so now, you're seeing these AAU clubs that are highly competitive at young ages at mites and mini mites. And you almost have to be a specialized goalie if you want to compete at that level and get into that level. So he did hockey club for a year, which is, kind of like the AAA of mini mites, which is a whole nother thing, whether you agree or disagree. But we also had him skate out as a player for the Rockets. So that was our balance is, like you're not just like I said, you will not. And so even now he does AAA Blues, but in the spring he plays spring league as a forward for the Rockets.
Love it.
And
I did the
we
same
don't let
thing,
him play.
actually.
Yeah,
did the
and I
same
think
exact
it's
thing.
great. And it makes you learn. And what I tell them all the time, I was like, you're going to be a better player on the bench when you're like a better goalie on the bench, because you'll know when your D-men are coming and you'll anticipate the door being open and you're going to get your guys out a jump faster. I'm like, you're going to just know the game that much better because you're not going to see it being back in the crease. And I see it all like he's like, like now he's can't wait to be on the bench and opening up the doors. And like before, like he's practically falling asleep, like in between the games. So I think it just makes them such a more well-rounded goalie playing out longer. I don't think you should give it up for a long time. I think they should be playing out at some, like, whether it's roller hockey or spring league or whatever, till they're probably like before checking, like, all the way up to checking, so 12, 13, 14, like they should be playing that long as a forward. That's my opinion. Maybe popular, maybe not, but
I agree.
my opinion.
I agree with that. I played spring all the way up and checking while I played goalie for AAA. But every single spring league, checking involved, all that.
Yep.
I was a forward.
I love it.
You can't wait for checking.
I learn something every week on this show, and this is just one of them that you should, if you're a goalie, you can play goal if that wants to be a goalie, if that wants to be your primary position, but also play out as a skater. What a great perspective on seeing the game. I love it.
But I also think what goes along with that is it gives your mind a break too. Even though they're still young, it's just all that goalie time. Like, go have some fun. Go score some goals. Go light some people up.
I mean, yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy. It's
Lexi, did you light some people up?
I did.
She's a Levy, of course she did.
I did.
Hot bins all day.
Looks like Tim's back. Tim, real quick, your thoughts on when to specialize. How do we solve this goalie shortage? I know you've got some great informed opinions and insight to this.
You can't have people blaming the goalie for everything. That's how you stop the shortage. Like, a kid has a bad game and it's like, oh, the goalie sucks. Who wants to go back to that? And specializing, I agree with those two. Like, when I wasn't playing goal, we would play street hockey and I'd play out, and play roller hockey. I'd play out, and any stick and puck, I wouldn't put on the pads. I'd be a skater. And so goalies are supposed to be the best skater on the team, not necessarily the fastest, because I've never been equated to speed, but can be a good skater. And so even when they're 18, let them play out and roller and fun. And as a goalie, you should know what you're shooting at. Like, hey, I know what the goalie's going to do. I know what's going to be open. I'm going to fire it in and then get a few goals this game.
You make a great point, and as a coach, and I know you do an excellent job of this, after every game, no matter the outcome, the first thing we talk about is thanking and pumping our goalie up. Yep. Because I think if you're lucky, you've got two in the locker room. Most nights we have one, and so you want to make sure they keep playing. And I think that's a great point. It's like, and I think Simon mentioned this earlier, it's a team game. And so, being positive, even in the face of the outcome. I mean, let's not focus on the outcomes. Let's focus on the journey and having fun. And I love that mentality. But it also sounds like it takes a village. There's an ism.
There it is.
There it is. There's the ism of the night. It takes a village, and if we're going to solve this goalie issue, it's going to take all of us: coaches, parents, forwards, defensemen, hockey players. So that's where my mindset is.
Well, we got time for one more. So let's end it with a hypothetical. With today's shooters, do you think, as goalies, would today's shooters score on legends like Dominic Hasek and Martin Brodeur more often? Or do you think those guys would still dominate?
Jump in, Tim. I know you're dying on this one. Let's go.
Oh, I think the older goalies would save more just because they aren't as predictable. Like Brodeur, not going down a butterfly, but doing a pad save to the left to kick the rebound out to the corner. Just the pure athletic ability, I think, gets them there.
What do you think, Lexi? You're the most new age goalie of the three. Right. So what do you think?
What do you think?
Tim makes a good point, but I'm going to go the other way.
I love it.
Honestly.
So Tim's paddle down, stand up goalie. You're RVH all the way.
I mean, well, yeah, but also it's like you think Wayne Gretzky can score on Jordan Binnington? No, like he's the greatest hockey player in all of NHL. All of the world.
We got Wayno's here. Wayno's here. He begs to disagree with you.
Yeah, look, that's okay.
That's our Instagram short right there.
Simon, what do you think?
All right. Before I give my answer, I'll give you a good story.
Well, you
So-
grew up with Ken. You grew up with Tom Barrasso and Ken Reggett as your goaltenders in Pittsburgh, right? So
Yeah,
Frank
some feisty boys right there.
Petrangelo,
Feisty.
who's Petrangelo's uncle.
Yes. So I, being a restaurateur, had the privilege of catering for the Blues for 15 years. We've done all their lunches, practices, all the stuff. So I'm always down in the locker room with the boys. And a couple years ago, we had Thomas Grace
Humble brag.
as our other goalie, right? And one practice, all the boys came in just talking about the shootout they had at the end and how he was saving everything. And they're on the locker room talking about it. And they're like, how did you were so dialed in today? What do you do that's different? And him and Benner were talking. Bryce never looks at the puck. He just watches the shooter's eyes. And it blew Bennington's mind. And he was like, what? You don't look at the puck? He was like, nope, I just watch their eyes. He was couldn't believe it. And it's you're you can just see, right? And I was old school and new school, right? Right there. And it and I was like, I can't believe that worked. He saved every person on the team. Right. You're just unbelievable. But I'm a mixed bag. I think it's true. I think it's definitely a move that I like to give sometimes is making the shooter think they have something and take it away, right? You kind of play that mind game with them. I think what Tim said, the mix is good. I think they would get scored on more because their pads are so small. But ultimately, I think the style
and they're leather and they get waterlogged
for today's shooters. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a million other things we could talk about here. I do want to end on one last topic before we go to our drill draw, and I think each of you is an expert on this. Why did you fall in love with playing goalie? Lexi, let's start with you.
I am a kid, young woman now, I guess, that just loves adrenaline. I love the pressure. I eat it up. Playing Ladue Hockey High School, absolutely loved rival fans chanting my name, hard time, loved it. I excelled and I ate it up. So I loved the pressure. I loved, having control of everything and being the one that could really dictate the game.
What about you, Tim? Besides the donuts that your mom gave you to keep going. Mute. Gotta unmute.
Oh, mute.
Unmute.
It was more just, the team aspect, because you start playing for your teammates and you become this brotherhood as you play. It's you don't want to let them down. And so that's what drove me.
Love that.
Simon, what about you?
I think I'm definitely in the boat of Lexi of I love being the pressure cooker. The higher the stakes, the better. That gets the juices flowing for sure. But I ultimately really like that that guy in front of me, that defenseman who I love so much and is such an athlete and a great player, knows that I got his back. Right?
This is terrible.
That if he misses that play, because that forward is out there slacking, cherry picking,
this is going to be the highest rated defenseman show ever.
That I got his back, so I that's really it. It's a kind of a mix between the two, it's that guy in front of you knows that you got his back, and I want that pressure. Give it to me.
Well, let's have a little fun before we go here. We're gonna finish up with our segment, the drill draw. But before we do, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about our forthcoming partner, Drift Hockey. So our drill draw here is powered by Drift Hockey, and we're in the process of formalizing a great partnership with Drift Hockey. It's an all-in-one hockey tool where you're able to work with your team schedules, rosters, messaging, statistics, videos. We use it at Ladue, and we're big proponents of it. We're helping to develop some of the new features. So check out Drift Hockey. Go ahead and click that QR code in the right-hand corner of your screen to get a free trial version. And Brian Dolan, the founder of Drift Hockey, is always looking for great feedback. So be an early adopter and help with the development of a great tool that we're very excited to be using.
But get ready to watch it in action.
Absolutely. Get ready to watch it in action. So we're going to bring our friends back in here. There we go. All right, Tim, let's let me figure out what am I doing here. I gotta bring in.
You gotta bring in the.
Gotta bring in my screen.
Screen.
And we're gonna do some drill. We're gonna do some drill draw for helping out that's not what we want. There we go. So if everybody can see my screen here, got a little bit of library here of great coaches from around the country and around St. Louis and around the world, actually helping us put together some repository. There's a word, or some would call library of great small area games and drills for practices. But Tim, why don't you go ahead and kind of walk me through how to set the ice up here, and let's have a little fun here with these drills.
All right. So the first one is, I call it breakaway puck protect. And basically you move the net, not in the crease, just so you can split the ice in half.
Right here?
Yeah, perfect.
Great.
You have one guy in the corner.
Right here?
Perfect. Another one on the top of the circle towards the center of the ice, like a little bit higher. Yeah, right about there. And then you can put a mark or a cone directly across from the player up top.
We use tires. Right here?
Yep.
Good.
So the player starts with the puck in the corner, skates up the boards.
Wait, we have a goalie in net, right? Tim, we have a goalie in net, right?
Yes. Well, I think the forwards would like shooting on the open net.
It is the goalie show. Let's put a goalie in net. Make him a different color. There you go. All right, so player in the corner skates with the puck to start. All right, let's do that. Oh, shoot. All right, so now we've got skate with puck.
Yep. So skates up towards the tire, rounds the tire, makes a pass to that other player.
I love how Drift Hockey has all the options. All right, now
that player one touches it back to him and chases him on a breakaway.
Ooh, I like that. One touch back. And we'll chase it on a breakaway.
Gotta have a good first step if you're player two.
Oh, hang on. That like that?
Perfect.
All right. Yeah, perfect, coach. All right, what's our next one?
Next one is the triangle game.
Okay.
So you could run it on the other side of the ice, net in the same spot.
Right here?
Yes.
And we got a goaltender. Got to put a goalie in. We'll make this one red. For our friends in Kirkwood. All right.
All right. So you have two players down low and one up top.
Down low on the goal line or down low in front of the net?
In front of the net. So more towards the wall a little bit.
More towards the wall? All right.
Yes.
Good?
Yep. One straight across.
Right here?
Perfect.
Okay.
One at the top of the circles.
What I like about this is you can run these simultaneously and you don't have kids standing around.
Absolutely.
Right here?
Perfect. And then a D in the middle.
Ooh. We'll make the D the same color since Simon loves his defenseman and he wants them all on the same team.
I was going to say orange, but.
Well, we can make them orange.
Pile
right.
on.
Keep them red.
I'll call him a pylon. All right, where's our puck going, Coach?
It starts with one of the lower guys, and the object here is the three forwards move the puck around, and D tries to stop them, but the forwards are trying to get that goalie to move side to side, so it works on lateral movement for the goalies and anticipating, hey, is he going to shoot? Is he going to pass?
How many passes before they shoot?
Sometimes I start with one. You can work your way all the way up to 2 or 3.
Let's give a little lateral movement here with our goaltender so we accentuate that. All right. And anything else we got cooking here for our goaltenders?
This one is definitely one for lateral movement and just basic compete. It's on the goal line with the net facing the opposite way.
So we're down here on this end. Any particular where we want to put it?
Towards the corner.
Right there, good.
Back it up just a little.
Right there.
A little bit more.
Towards the red line or towards the
goal line.
All right, how's that?
Good.
Okay.
And goalie in goal.
We'll make this one orange. Goalie's in net. All right.
And then you have a forward there, the puck, and you have a forward basically down low.
Okay, so let's do players. Get these out. So we'll put one right here.
Right in front of the net.
Right there?
Yes.
Okay.
I would put another forward on the boards. Right about back it up. Right
Back
about
it up.
there.
All right.
And so the forward on the board soft rims it in, and the forward's got to make a move to score in tight. And it's, the goalie's got to get down low, got to be able to move and compete for that puck with them.
So you got to get that stick work. You've got to be able – can the goalie stop the puck and try to intercept it?
They can, but that's a pretty risky move.
Yeah, that's right, because then you're out of position. Gotcha. Okay. So we've got 3 small area compete games that work on, goalie tracking, lateral movement, and just outright compete.
Yeah.
Lexi, what's a good name for all these drills? What do we want to call these?
Chaos.
Balis Chaos?
Love it.
How's that?
Perfect.
Well, we've got a drill. We'll put in some descriptions on each one and update tags. But if you're watching us on YouTube, after the show, head over to our website, toomanymenonthe.com if you're a coach, and you'll be able to download these drills as well as many others from coaches from USA Hockey and around the country and the world. Thank you to Drift Hockey for helping us out. All right, folks. Well, appreciate everybody's time this evening. Obviously it's Wednesday night. Hope everybody had fun. And, personally just want to say thank you all for being goaltenders and making life as a forward so much easier because we don't have to play defense. We don't have to stop the puck.
Simon, thanks for the love to all the defensemen. Lexi, love your compete. Tim, love your balance of knowledge that you brought to the table. What a fun night. Thanks for joining us.
Tim is like goalie Yoda.
One thing, guys, guess what school district my son's in?
Ladue.
Yeah, so you won't have the goalies.
I know all the goalies coming to Ladue over the next 10 years.
You got that pipeline down, huh?
They're trying to. Love it. Well, thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll talk to you all very, very soon. And remember, follow, subscribe. Too Many Men on the Mic on Instagram, YouTube, X, or wherever you get your podcasts.
See you next week.
See you next week, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, Coach, I think we've got some hockey to go watch and some hockey to go coach. I learned a lot here from these goaltenders, and I hope our audience and especially the players and parents did as well.
I mean, they were fantastic. I love 3 goalies, 3 different approaches. I learned something tonight. I hope our listeners did too. Check it out. Thanks for listening to Too Many Men on the Mic. We will see you next week.
And Grant, now you can come play goalie at our practice because you had a free goalie coaching seminar here tonight.
Yeah, you're an expert now.
You're an expert now.
Hey, I was a catcher in high school. I think that skills translate, right?
Absolutely.
See, I love how he's inching the bar.
Absolutely. Well, hey, everybody, thanks again for watching, listening. He shoots, he scores. Take us home, Grant.